What's up, everybody? This is Dell. Welcome to Dell on Movies and another episode of Movie Swap. We are on episode number 57, and tonight's guest is a gentleman I became familiar with through a couple of other YouTubers, and then we chatted back and forth a few times, and now he's here, and that is Terrance, and his channel is Have You Seen That with T? What's going on, man?
I was muted for a second. How's it
Okay,
going?
it's
Thanks
going
so
all
much
right.
for having me, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the things that we had a bit of a connection on was you are a New Yorker.
I am.
I am a New Yorker. I haven't lived there in a really long time, but I'm still a New Yorker. It never leaves you.
Yes.
You are
See, yeah,
particularly. Go ahead, go for it.
I was going to say I haven't lived in New York in 23 years. Yeah.
I'm going on 30, so I got
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I did grow up there till I got out of high school, got out of the army. So I was there, long enough to say I grew up there for real. You from Harlem, is that right?
I am. Man, that's funny. You were in the army. I was in the army too. I just retired. That's why I left New York.
You're a better man than me. I didn't make it to retirement. I was there for 3 years. I partied for two of them. I trained for one, partied for two, and got out.
Oh, I respect that.
All right. So okay, I was getting back to Harlem, so I gotta bring it back to here always.
Yes.
Um, top five Harlem rappers.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's not fair. I'm not
I,
ready. I'm not ready for that question.
I know,
So,
I know you weren't ready.
So top five Harlem rappers,
Yes.
man. In no particular order, I'll go. Well, yeah, no particular order. You got Mace, Big L. I don't want to put Cam in this list, but I'll put Cam in this list. I got a homie that I grew up with named Mino, and he's like he was part of Harlem World actually. But yeah, he's a rapper probably nobody knew of. But he was dope. He was a dope rapper out of Harlem. And my boy Big Stan that I grew up with. He's another cat that he's been on a few DMX albums, but like he never made it big.
Okay. Okay. That's cool. I like the choices. Um, any what you got against Cam?
I don't. I mean, I don't have nothing against Cam, but it's just he's just. I mean, I love it is what it is. Like I love him talking because he's funny, but like he's just not like his style is just. What was it? Man, what was his first album? Confessions of Fire. That was a fire album, but then he just
Yeah,
changed his whole style, and then yeah, I couldn't do it after that. I love
I,
Confessions of Fire though. Like that was one of my favorite albums back then.
yeah. I've never been a huge Cam fan myself, so I understand. But the one Harlem rap I never really liked was Jim Jones.
Yeah, Jim's not. I mean, he makes hits, but he's not like a rapper.
Yeah, I don't get the hype. Never got the hype.
Yeah, yeah,
Now
he's not my guy either.
just throw an old school name out there. We got Kumo D. He's also Harlem.
Cool Mo D. So he used to live downtown, 129th Street in Convent. I went to elementary school on 130th Street in Convent. So yeah, that's like where they shot Juice. They actually shot Juice when I was in elementary school. It's kind of
Oh,
dating.
okay. No, I was an adult when Juice came out, so you're good. I actually paid for my own ticket and went to the movies to see it. So yeah.
I went and saw Juice 2 on 125th Street in the Victoria 5, which is like the most infamous shot up movie theater in Harlem.
I don't know if I've ever been to the movies in Harlem. I'm a Queens kid. I've been to Harlem, but I don't think I've ever been to the movies in Harlem.
Hey, you ain't missing. You're missing absolutely nothing. Cause going to a movie in Harlem, I'm pretty sure it's like that in Queens too, where people just talk the whole movie and everybody's just
Yeah.
yelling
Oh
like throughout the movie. That's like that. I hate it.
oh yeah. We had a theater on I'm I'm dating because I'm forgetting. Uh, Leopards Avenue. We had a theater on Leopards Avenue in Queens, way back in the day. And yeah, you would go in there. It was almost it wasn't quite to that level, but it was almost like watching the Last Dragon, like how that theater was.
Yeah, yes,
It could get
it
like
really was. Yeah. I remember going to see Batman '89. I will never forget. I went and saw Batman '89 like 7 times in the theater. Like, and every single time, everybody was so right. It was like a concert in there. Everybody, like when Joker came in, he's dancing the Prince Party Man, and like, it was crazy. It really did feel like the Last Dragon.
yeah. Now, Batman '89. When I went and saw that the Sunrise Theater out in Nassau, and it was actual like so it was a lot of celebrities that are actually in the theater with us watching it. So that was interesting. Mark Jackson is when he played for the Knicks. Mark Jackson and his wife Desiree Coleman showed up. They walked like right by me. Ed Love and Dr. Dre were there, and
Yeah,
there was a few people. A few people. The theater was packed. And the funny thing that always stands out about that to me is, the opening credits come up, and you get directed by Tim Burton, and then you get Michael Keaton, and
yeah.
you get all the names, Jack Nicholson, and all that. And everybody was pretty quiet through that. And then when it said music by Prince, the whole theater just everybody just erupted. So that was interesting. That was cool.
I have a similar movie experience. So, what was it? 85, 86. Tougher Than Leather. No, this
Oh
came out. This had to have been 89 or 90. This
yeah,
was a
I say
little
like
bit
like
later.
89, 90. Yeah.
Yeah, so Tougher Than Leather came out in like the Friday night. My mom would, and you had to stand in line to get tickets back then. You couldn't order it
Yeah.
online.
Oh
We
yeah.
didn't have credit
Oh
cards or nothing. So we went first night, Tougher Than Leather, Cool Mo D, Dougie Fresh, Run DMC showed up. Like, it was insane.
wow.
Like, going to see, like, it was it was Run DMC's movie, right?
Yeah.
It was so, like, I remember meeting Dougie Fresh, and I'm just like, this, like, stuff like that. Like, stuff like that happens in New York a lot. You just
Oh
kind of
yeah.
run into people that just randomly, but like that was a big deal because it was Tougher Than Leather's premiere night.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I you just run into people. Like I used to. When I was in high school, me and my best friend, it was like towards the end of we getting ready to graduate. So we cutting a lot of classes because like we did what we needed to do. We just
Yeah,
waiting for June, and so we cut classes. We go. There was a park a couple blocks away. We just go over there. We just hanging out. Guy pulls up and off to the sidewalk, and he just gets out and starts wiping down his car. And we look over, and it's DMC. He just hanging out. Nobody
just
bothered.
there,
Yeah, nobody bothered him. Nobody said nothing.
just there. Yeah,
Just
like stuff like that happened. Like, actually, on my block, it happened a lot. Like, it just, like, you just, people would just be there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Now, to switch it back to a more current movie, so I watched a review of Sinners. I got to
Yes.
see it. I went to see it yesterday, and I'm like you, just to spoil. I do want you guys to go and watch Terrance's video. Go watch it. It's a really good video. Um, but fairly safe to say that you, like me, we were both blown away by the movie.
Yeah, so that was a really hard review to do because I didn't want to, like, I started typing and I just kept typing because it's such a deep movie. Like, you can't. There are people going into great detail on just the different layers of the movie, but
Hmm.
I felt like, honestly, I felt like I didn't have the credibility to do that. Like, Ryan Coogler made such a great, like, that is a great movie. Not as only is it a great movie, it's a great story, great cast. Like, everything about that movie is just perfect. And I felt intimidated doing that review because it's like, man, like, who am I to say, like, to critique your movie, like this near perfect movie, and like, to me it's actually perfect. There's some people saying it's a little too long and they didn't dig the vampires because the vampires came too late, but I was just engrossed with the story. It was a great movie, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you just watch it on a surface level, I understand why you think it takes too long to kick in. If you're just looking at, okay, there's a vampire movie, I'm waiting for that to kick off. Yeah, I get it. But if you are paying attention to any of the subtext at all, and there's a lot of subtext,
Yes.
and if and you can relate to it at all, then you're pulled into the story. And it's one of those movies where, I watched it, I formed my opinion, and then I formed what I thought Ryan Coogler was trying to say, and then I know that when if and when I go back to see it again, I may come away with something completely different.
Yeah,
And
and that's one thing I said. Like 100 people could watch. Well, not in the review, but 100 people can watch this movie and come up with 100 different interpretations of what they think that Ryan's doing in this movie, and that's the genius of the movie is it
mm,
makes you think. It's not so cut and dry. You know what the vampire's intentions are, what the smokestacks like, what the twins' intentions are. Like it's so layered and so deep, and it's such a great movie, man. Like you just
yeah,
got to experience it. And I'm definitely gonna watch it in IMAX the next time I go see it.
yeah, I didn't see it in IMAX. I saw it on regular screen. I
Yeah,
don't know if I'm gonna make it back to the theater to do, but if I do, it's gonna be IMAX.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it again at some point. Um, so is that his best movie? You think?
man. See, I that's hard for me to say because one, I thought Black Panther was perfect.
Mhm.
Um, I thought Creed 3 was brilliant. A lot of people, don't
He
rat.
we did Creed. He didn't do three. Michael.
Oh, Michael B. Jordan directed Creed 3. You're right.
Yeah,
So yes, that is his best movie because I loved Creed 3, man. Like
Creed two.
I really enjoyed that movie. So yeah, this Sinners would be Ryan Coogler's best movie then.
Yeah, the thing about I'll tell anybody out there who's not familiar with him with his work, and if you're watching my channel, chances are you're familiar with him at least for Black Panther, for nothing else. Black Panther and
Yeah.
Wakanda Forever, and I think Wakanda Forever is his weakest movie, but it's still really good.
Mm.
So I
Yeah,
don't think he's made a bad movie yet.
yeah, exactly. Wakanda Forever is not poorly directed.
No,
It's just a few things that I didn't agree with in the script. But I still enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a solid movie, but it was beautiful and it was well directed.
yeah, yeah, and he was kind of hamstrung by the events that surround the movie.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. That it was like a no-win situation to me for Wakanda Forever. We were gonna enjoy it no matter what, but it was such a it's just a terrible, circumstance surrounding the movie.
Right, right, yeah, it was. We got a few people here. Let's see who is out there, and we have Steve Moody is here. He says, "Good evening. What's going on, Steve?"
What's going on, Steve? How you doing, man?
Smirk is here. Smirk 88 says, "What's up?"
What's up, Smirk?
Caveman is here. Says, "Hey there, everyone. Please hit the like button." Yes, please hit the like button.
Man, I always have to get reminded to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I generally don't either. So when I see somebody commenting, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Hopefully that means Miss Caveman is not far behind. Smirk just saying hi to those other folks who are here.
for
And
sure. Welcome in, everyone.
yeah, I'm just gonna scroll down see if anybody else has popped in. Yeah, my guy Video Man Gizmo has popped in. He says, "Hope you're good." I am good. I hope you are too. Coming in from the other side of the earth.
That's what's up.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Holland is here. What's going on, Holland? Now it's
I love
official. Holland is here.
I love that name, Hollow Notes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Great group. Hall and Oates, great group.
Great, I love Hall and Notes. One of my
Oh
favorite groups.
yeah, oh yeah. And the twins, or at least Mika is here. Says, "Hey, Dell," and "Hey, everyone." Hey, Mika.
Hey, how you doing, Mika? Double feature. They're twins. Wow.
Yeah, her
I'm
sister
gonna have
next
to
to you.
subscribe to that channel.
Yeah, if you see their picture right there,
Mhm.
and they have a stream coming up tomorrow, I think. Let me know if I'm right, Mika. And yeah, she loves Sinners, our favorite of the year so far. I think it might be mine too so far.
I'm so my dead friend Zoe is I think that's still, man, that movie broke me. Like that was such a good movie, and I think I related to that a little bit more than the Vampire Tales of Sinners, but
Okay.
I think that it's probably 1A 1B right now.
Okay. I haven't seen my dead friend Zoe yet, so I can't really comment on that. Our favorite Superman, Kal-El Daly. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Kal? Think, am I still here? Here
Yeah,
we
you.
go. Okay, I lost audio for a second.
Oh, okay. And yeah, we got a lot of people saying hi back and forth to each other. I appreciate everybody being here. Giz says, I'm looking forward to seeing Sinners. Only two movies I'm looking forward to is Sinners and 28 Years Later. Are you a 28 fan? 28 years, days, and all that stuff?
I love 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later. The second one, I was not a fan of at all. Like, I just thought they jumped the shark on that one. But I am looking forward to 28 Years Later because I think they're going to kind of bring it back to that grounded, rooted, horror that they did in 28 Days.
I like 28 Days Later, okay, and I did not see, I've not seen 28 Weeks Later yet. So I think I'm going to try to marathon watch them both because it's been a long time since I've
Yeah,
seen 28 Days. So I'm watching both before I see the new one.
that sounds like a good plan. But the second one is wild. Like, the second one is wild.
Okay. Kira and I will plan to watch my dead friend Zoe tonight. Can't wait after that review. Okay.
It's a really good movie. Bring some Kleenex.
Oh, okay. That one is that kind of movie. All right.
Yeah.
And she says, yes, looking forward to 28 years later and bring her back from the directors of Talk to Me. Oh, I did not know about that movie. Bring her back.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a softie. I don't go see like hardcore horror movies in the theater, and that one looks scary as hell. Like, bring her
Okay.
back. Like, the teaser is just really eerie.
I'm gonna have to find it because I have no clue about that movie, and I really like 28. I'm sorry, I really like Talk to Me. That was really good. So I'm gonna have to find that. John Parks, welcome. Says Sinners is easily my favorite movie of the year so far. I haven't seen My Dead Friend Zoe yet. So
Yeah. So that's not gonna be everybody's favorite movie. I think it's because I had a deep emotional connection with the story, the characters. It's a very veteran based story, and I think that's why it sticks with me. When it comes to that. So I know that that's not going to be in a lot of people's top 10, but it's in mine.
okay, hey, we all have those movies, and that's what makes movies great. We all get to have those kinds of movies that we like and not everybody else likes, or we hate that not everybody else hates. However you want to look at it.
Yeah. And
Uh,
that's probably going to bring us into our movie swap because I can't wait to hear what you
all
thought
right,
about the movie that I
all right. So
suggested.
well, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So here we are gonna let you tell the good folks that are watching what movie you had me watch.
So I gave you a selection of 10. I wanna put that out there first. It was a selection of 10. And this was a movie that just popped in my head when I was making this list. It's a movie I saw probably like 25 years ago. So same time next year. I'm a big romantic comedy fan. And this is somewhat of a romantic, well, it's really a romantic comedy about two people, Ellen Bernstein and Alan Alda, who meet each other randomly at a retreat at a hotel, and they have dinner. They end up having an affair. So they would meet each other at the same hotel for like the next 30 years, the same time next year. And it's kind of a one play, like I can't remember, I don't know what they call it, like the single set drama, where because it's based on a stage play where they pretty much stay on the same set, and it goes from I think 1956 to 1978. I think it stops at around 77 or 78 or something like that.
51 to 77,
Yeah.
and I only
So
know because I was paying attention.
I
I,
wrote notes down, and I was
yeah,
like, "Man, you know what? Nah, I'm just no. Let's not do notes." But I do remember '77 was the last year that I remember seeing.
yeah, and okay, so let me get into real quick why I picked it. Um, I had seen part of the movie a really long time ago, 25, 30 years ago. I'd seen part of the movie. It was on TV one day, and I just flipped to it. I just, sat there and watched it for a little while, and then whatever else happened. I don't know. But I
Mm.
never saw the whole movie. So I was like, oh, okay. I've been saying that I know what this movie, and I knew the premise. So I was like, yeah, I know this movie. Let me actually watch the movie this time. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. So yeah, right off the bat, just what did you think of the two main characters, our leads?
So I remember this movie so differently. Like, cause think I watched it 25 years ago. I wasn't married. Like I'm younger. I just have a totally different mind for life. And I thought the characters are intriguing when I watched it the first time. Watching it again, I was like, man, these two people are silly. Like they're just like they're so like they're both just they're so young and idiotic. It was like the first time they met, it was funny. It was so awkward and just and that's probably me 25 years ago, just awkward and just completely aloof to, life seriousness, I guess you could say.
Right, and I I thought they played up her silliness a lot more, like right at the beginning, anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was just, you know, just worried and feeling guilty and confused and all those kinds of things. Now, going as the movie kind of went on, Ellen Burstyn's character, I thought, went through a lot more changes than Alan Alda's character.
So I think initial like early on she went actually no, every single time that they met, she was going through a totally different phase in life because they spaced it out 5 years, which I thought was a little odd because every 5 years it was as if they didn't see each other for those 5 years because it was just these conversations that you'd felt they would have had in between. But she went through some radical changes and kind of literally because she became a radical throughout the Vietnam era, like which was pretty pretty funny. That
Yeah,
led to some pretty funny scenes, um, and actually probably the deepest scene of the movie was him explaining that he lost his son, which kind of once again I don't remember any of the deeper moments in the movie from watching it back then because I just thought it was a light-hearted movie watching it, 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago.
right, right. Yeah, that was a really good scene because when I was taking those, one of the things I wrote down because before we found out about the reveal about his son, so I was like, okay, so he's going full MAGA here. What are
Yeah,
we doing?
yes. So many parallels. As
Yes,
I was watching, I was like, "Oh snap! This was happening. This was happening 50 years ago too." Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and
Racist rants and everything. Like, oh man,
yeah, yeah.
it was pretty funny actually. I was like, man, this is full circle in life. That's the way American life is, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It definitely full circle is for sure. And yeah, like you said, she became a hippie and a radical. Another time, she seemed like she was more elegant, and as time went on, she became successful in business. And it was like I felt like they just fleshed out her character more and more as it went on, and because of all the changes that she was going through, I was having some trouble reconciling that with her still meeting this guy every year.
Yes, like so. Once again, now I'm a fully formed adult, and I'm married. I have kids, and I'm just thinking like, why would you keep doing like I get it, right? Things happen. You have this. You meet some beautiful person, and whatever. But it was like you said, in the first time we meet her, she doesn't have a high school diploma. Like
Hmm.
she does, like she didn't finish high school, and she's playing. They're playing that. They played that a little too tough. It was like, man, she does just because you don't have a high school diploma, that doesn't mean that you have to act as if you're an 8 year old. Because they really played her like she was a child. She was acting very childlike when we first meet her, and yeah, like once she became successful, and he kind of went the opposite way. You know, he was a money man to begin with, and then he just was like, "Oh, I don't need money." Like, and
Yeah.
and both of them kind of had to like, "Why y'all still doing this 20 plus years later?" And they
Hmm.
kept saying they loved each other, and I was like, "How? I don't like." My brain wasn't comprehending this. Like, I understand lust. I understand the the attraction to somebody, but 20 years of just a weekend, that's just insane to me. Like,
Yeah. And to be honest, I got it from his standpoint. Just because of the
yeah,
way he was,
yeah.
and of course, there's the lust factor there also. You know, so I kind of got it from his standpoint, and especially as time is going on, you can see her maturing and becoming a better person,
Mm.
or more well-rounded person. I shouldn't say better, but more well-rounded person. But going back the other way, it's like the first thing I'm looking for is, okay, why did you even hook up with this guy to begin with? Because
Yeah.
I'm getting, for people out there who have not seen it, if you've seen a Woody Allen movie, those are the vibes I'm getting. I'm getting Woody Allen and like Annie Hall and those kind of movies in the '70s, and he's just neurotic, and then he's always, he's got to come back for her, or he's got a comeback, not like he's coming back for, but he's got to come back for her, and eventually gets around to making her feel upset about something. And I mean, you want to do this weekend every year? I don't. For like I said, for him, I get it because there's somebody paying attention to him, and it feels like
Yes.
he kind of needed that. But I don't think she needed that.
No. No. I like as you see the story, and what I really thought was weird of the whole thing was how they always talked about each other's spouses. And I know that's to bring us into the fact, like, because we as the audience is like, why y'all still cheating on your spouses? And they will always tell the bad story and the good story. But like the bad stories weren't so bad. It was like they're in
Yeah.
both of them seem to be in really solid foundational marriages. They just were excited with each other, which is weird because neither one of them were like I don't see Alan Alda as like being like he's not Tom Selleck, he's not Tom Cruise, like he's not
Right.
that guy. And Ellen Burstyn, now Ellen Burstyn is a beautiful woman, but like I don't see like I just it just didn't register to me to like blow up your family,
Hmm.
because that you could potentially blow up your family for somebody you meet every once every once in a while,
Right.
which is
Right. Right.
which is wow, once a year,
Right.
which is
But
insane to me.
and it was remarkable as it's going on. I was kind of thinking back through my own life, and as you do, and my thing was just from a mere scheduling standpoint, would I even be able to pull that off? That I can definitely be available on that weekend every year.
So
Because
he gives the reason initially, like he said, he does this guy, his first client, it was his first client moved out to the West Coast, so he goes and does his books every year. But after like the second time, he stopped. He wasn't an accountant anymore. So how are you
yeah,
lining this up? Like it
yeah,
just man, I was like since I've got married, I've always asked the question: how do people have time for that? Like I don't have the
mhm,
time. I'm married with kids. Like I mean, I guess you could just leave and just be gone, but it's like what? Like who
right,
like
right, right.
I mean, I guess you could. Back then, they had traveling salesmen. These guys had probably 4 or 5 families back in the 50s and 60s, all over
That's
the
fair.
country.
That is definitely fair. Because yeah, I'm same thing. I'm like, if just left for a weekend,
Yeah,
what is gonna
What?
happen here? I'm not gonna I'm gonna come home and not have a home is what's gonna happen.
Pretty much. Like after you do it once, it's like, oh, me and my boys, we going wherever for a weekend. The
Yeah.
second time, they're like, women have intuition. Like she'll look at the dates too. Like oh, the same time the next year. Oh no.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I'm coming. I'm coming this time. Like
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
going on
I'm
this
coming
trip.
this time. And if I don't come, I'm calling you like every 15 minutes. So
Pretty
we
much,
we're gonna be in some communication here.
man. Yeah. More power to people who have the time to do it. I simply don't. Like, like,
I'm pretty much the same. Um, so eventually though, like so we get to a point where we're getting a little later on in the film, and he's really falling apart, and not quite the very end, but as it's going on, you see he's kind of falling apart, and he keeps bringing up his wife and what she's going through. So I get it that it's adapted from a stage play. Did at any point you think that we should have still seen the spouses?
maybe for the movie, yeah, that would have made sense. But then it probably would have kind of like because even back then, because boy, the times have changed. Because they said some words in this movie where if you said if you said them now, you'd be like, I mean, just the way they describe people, the way they describe people of color,
Yeah,
uh, and anything else. Um, I just don't. I don't think it was necessary because if you see the wife and the wife looks better than her, you're like, why is he doing this? If you see the husband just looks dumpy the way she said he did. It was
yeah,
like, oh, I see why she's doing it, but she's a bad person. Like you didn't want to paint, even though they were bad, like they were doing something terrible. Like you wanted to see them still as good people. Like that's what they were, and they tried to protect themselves the whole time that they were rationalizing what they were doing, saying, "Well, we're good people. I'm good people." Like, and he rationalized himself when he went on his racist tirade. I'm a good person. Like he kept saying that. Like I'm a good
right,
person.
right.
Okay, I mean,
So
if you say so.
you as a viewer, so we're good saying they're not good people.
No, no. All right, I give you once, maybe 2 years. Like okay, but like 30 years, like that's insane. That's insanity right there. Like after watching it, because I thought it was honestly, I thought it was a beautiful love story when I watched it the first time. I was like, oh, these two people found love with each other. But now as a married person, boy,
Yeah,
I man, like if my wife, if I found out now that every year for the last 11 years I've been married, my wife has been me. Man, you're a horrible person. Like that,
yeah,
there's no ifs ands or buts about it.
yeah,
If
yeah.
she found out I did that, she'd be like, you're a piece of whatever.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, I'm on board with you. It's like no, there's really no justifying this. After
No,
like, I understand it. If it happened once, I understand it. Uh,
yeah,
maybe twice, but I don't know if I'm that forgiving.
yeah, no.
And but yeah, year after year after year after year, and then we got to the point where he was impotent around his wife, and as soon as he got around her, it was game on.
Which which is a hilarious scene because he started the scene talking to somebody about being impotent. Then he found out he's talking to his mom, which I thought was like, why
Yeah, that was
why are you having this conversation with your okay, I do understand some mothers are overbearing, but man, like having that conversation over the phone, like
yeah.
that was a funny scene because he was talking. I was like, is he talking to the lady? Like, is he talking to Doris? Is he talking to his wife?
Hmm.
He's like, I'm here to see. I'm gonna see an expert on this.
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
walks through the door. I was like, man, this. Oh boy, they're not good people.
They're not. They're not. Now, my issue with that scene though is that it kind of got dropped after that. Like it never came up again. and I was kind of curious as to you know why that is or what would happen with that because
Yeah.
um, there tends to be more to it. And it never seemed to be like he never brought it up later, like oh because of that there was some kind of negative uh, effects on my marriage and other than that one instance. And to be honest, I thought the joke that he said his wife told was pretty good. I actually did.
Yeah. Yes, the white like this once again, he was like his wife everything he said his wife was saved like oh she thinks she's funny. No, she was. Like like
She was funny.
every joke that he said was pretty funny except for the peeing on the floor part. That would have
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
really upset me. Even though
That
I understand it, but I cuz
uh,
she was laughing at him, but that would have really pissed me off.
yeah, and for me, I'm in line with Ellen Burstyn's character. Later on in the movie, we find out what happens to her. We'll get there. Um, but excuse me, yeah, Ellen Burstyn's character is like, I've never met her, but I feel like I'm her best friend, and I felt the same way
Yeah.
about his wife. It's like we didn't see her at all, but everything she did, I was like, yeah, that works. That completely works.
She sounded like a fun person. She sounded like the opposite of him, and I think that
Yeah.
was his biggest issue was that he was so neurotic and he could not get out of his own way, but she was comfortable in her own skin and he just wasn't. And I think Doris she respected that about him and I think that's probably why he was so attracted to her because she was okay with him being insecure. Like,
Mhm.
and that's a big thing in male masculinity. We're supposed to be the most, we're supposed to be alphas. We're supposed to walk in a room and beat our chests and stuff like that. But she was so okay with him being, you know, not perfect, not the man, because he really did not. He did not act like. He acted very uh, peculiar. That's all. I'll say.
Yeah, and she did it without making fun of him or making him the butt of the joke like his wife
Yes,
did.
yes, exactly, exactly. She didn't emasculate him.
Right. So let's try to figure it out the other way because I'm still having trouble there. So what is it about him that, in your opinion, that brought her back every year?
That's a good question. I don't know because it sounded like her husband was perfect. Like he just was chunky, like because she
Mhm.
kept saying he was dumpy.
Yeah, not the
Maybe
best looking guy. Yeah.
yeah, like maybe he didn't. He wasn't. Maybe he wasn't. Like super attracted to her because Alan Alda's character was like always lusting over her. Like he always like when she was around him, he would always talk about how attracted he was to her and how she made him want to do all these things. And maybe her husband wasn't like that. Like in that, I think that's what she was drawn to was somebody being attracted to her and making her feel special. Which happens a lot. I know that from my single days and my when I was not a nice person. That does happen quite a bit in marriages where you just kind of take the person for granted. And I think that's that's the reason why she kept coming back.
Okay, that makes sense. 'Cause like you said, when they would tell stories about their spouses, none of the stories were bad, right? Nobody
Yeah.
was, nobody on the other end was cheating. Nobody was, abusing anybody. It was just, they just some things that they didn't maybe not quite agree with.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was mostly personality traits that were different or like views were aligned like different views or they just didn't align with each other. And that was like the worst part of it. And they probably were holding back cuz like you really don't want to tell somebody the worst of the worst and kind of ruin the weekend, but at the same time, why y'all talking about your spouse? I kept thinking that like why do y'all y'all are together for a weekend. Why are y'all having these like deep conversations about each other's significant other?
I think the first time, it was kind of a way to ease his conscience, and
Hmm.
she was just kind of playing along with it. And then after so many years, it just became routine.
Yeah. It's a weird routine, but
It
but
is. It is
okay.
a good routine. Let me see if anybody out here has seen it or is talking about it. Chamber piece from John. I'm not sure what we're referring to right there. Uh, haven't seen this one. Love Ellen Bernstein. She's been excellent in everything I've seen her in. So I completely understand.
So apparently she won the Tony for this performance
When she
because she was part of the stage. She was part of the stage play, and she won a Tony the year the movie came out.
okay, okay. Did this get some Oscar love too? Also,
I don't. I hope not, because I didn't think it was like looking back in the and maybe. I mean, of course, it's just totally different cinema back then, but I don't. I don't think so.
okay. Jason Entertainment is here. Welcome, Jason. I think it's first time on the channel, so I'm glad you decided to hang out with us for a little bit. He says, "Hey guys, how's it going? I've never seen this movie, so yeah, hopefully you've heard enough to, or maybe you'll hear some more because we're gonna talk a little bit more about it." And Mika's welcoming Jason. My guy Luke is here. What's going on, Luke? Luke Ponto.
What's
Luke's
going
got
on, Luke?
a great
What's up,
channel
Jason?
also.
Mm.
And like I always say, there's a lot of good content creators in the chat, so definitely subscribe to each other. Most people in the chat have a YouTube channel, and or they're on Instagram or wherever else on social media, so you can check them out that way. And Luke is a recent guest, actually. He and I did the last movie swap that I did. We did. I had him watch the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, so that was
Hmm.
fun.
That is an interest. I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh,
I probably have. I've watched a lot of like Shaolin stuff back in the day, but I haven't
yeah,
watched
if you
anything.
watched it, if you used to watch Channel 5 Saturday afternoon, you probably saw it.
Yeah,
And
probably.
back then, yeah, back then it was called Master Killer.
Okay, then I'll probably seen it.
All right, definitely we'll add this one to the watch list. All right, and more people saying, "Hey, what's up?" to each other. And let's see, I'm doing good. Yeah, a lot of talking back and forth. Corey is here. Corey of Wilkie's Movies and Music. What's going on, Corey?
What's going on, Corey?
And all right. Oh, we got one more. The Ace Avenue, the premier Yankee fan on YouTube, if I must
Yes,
say.
the
Got
Ace.
So Ace, I
Yeah.
got a question for you, Ace. And everybody listening, if you're familiar with me, you know my voice doesn't quite sound like this. I'm kind of dealing with something, so forgive me. But Ace, I got a question for you. Potential no hitter in the Bronx the other day. Was it a hit? And even if it was, should they have gone back and changed it? So I'll wait for the answer on that one. I'm not sure if you're a Yankee fan, T, but
I
there's a
am.
lot of
I
content.
am. I am. I don't subscribe to that other New York team. The that blue and orange. I mean, I love blue and orange because I'm a Knicks fan, but
Yeah,
I don't rock with the Mets like that.
I agree. Um, yeah, people who are not from New York don't always quite get it, but and it generally breaks along these lines. You're generally Yankees, Giants, Mets, and Jets.
Ah,
Generally.
see, I would say I'm actually a Jets fan, and
Okay.
I have a very peculiar story on why I'm a Jets fan. But I'm a Jets fan who used to be a Giants fan because I'm a
Oh,
Bill Parcells fan. Like I actually follow Bill Parcells when he was a Giants coach. Then he went to I
uh,
think New England. Then he went to the Jets, and then he went to the Cowboys. And I was like, I can't do it. I was like, all right, I'll stick with the Jets. I couldn't go with the Cowboys. I love Bill Parcells. I think he's the greatest head coach to ever coach football. Yeah, I grew up a Bill Parcells fan.
I grew up. I love Bill Parcells, but I've never heard of anybody following a coach from team to team. Players, yeah, but not a
I,
coach.
I'm telling. I had a Drew Bledsoe jersey when he coached the New England Patriots. Curtis Martin. Like I was all in on Bill Parcells, man. Like
Okay, okay.
I don't know why. I just followed him until he went to the Cowboys. That was a bridge too far.
I hear you. Parcells was the man. All right, Ace says it should have been a hit from the jump. but they called it an error and changed it 2 minutes later, correct later, which is where I call BS. Okay, so he agrees it probably should have been a hit, but once they ruled it an error, it should have stayed an error.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I listen to Ace all the time. He's
oh,
great content creator.
oh yeah. On top of he says on top of the Judge home run that they somehow looked at the replay and said it wasn't. Yeah. Steve said, I have a tough time watching Alan Alda because I just see him as Hawkeye from MASH. Understand. I'm strange. I know. Yes, I totally get it. I'm from that.
Yeah,
I totally
yeah,
get that. All right. And
completely.
yeah. And thank you, Steve, for bringing us back to the movie. So, next thing, part of it I wanted to talk about was so, as we get further on in the years, at two different times, uh, they both have times when they think that their marriage is over. And in particular, Ellen Bernstein's character, because she really thinks her marriage is over, and then there's a phone call. Her husband actually calls.
Man,
All right, so
suspending
Quentin,
disbelief is a thing because there's no way if I call you and a dude answers the phone, I don't care if he says his name was Jesus Christ, we gonna have a problem. Like we are gonna have a problem. Like I don't that, once again, I don't remember that scene being in the movie. When I saw it, when I watched it, I was like, "What? Why, one, why would you answer the phone when
yeah, yeah.
she's been getting calls all day, even if it's her assistant? Why would you answer the phone? Like, why would you ever answer the phone if her name's on the hotel? Like, if because apparently her name has to be because both of y'all are not going to give the same hotel number because either one of y'all can answer the phone and just completely like y'all been doing this for
Well,
20 years. Like I would
maybe
hope that
because
you're not doing.
at some point he gets a call from his daughter at the
this is
hotel.
this is all true, which doesn't make sense to me. Like none of that makes sense to me. Why would you? Once again, like I mean, I guess you because back then you didn't have cell phones, so you had to give somebody a number in case an emergency happened. But that's just so problematic. Like, why would like y'all had to think of something? Call the front desk. Like, have them call the front desk, and then the guy come knock on the door.
Right,
Like,
right. That would have made more
not to say
sense.
I'm an experienced, like, not to say that I'm a pro at that or anything like that, but like, it's just common sense, guy.
Right, right. Yeah. So, but back to that the first phone call from her husband. Now, if you're in Alan Alda's shoes, this is the woman you've been with every weekend, or not every weekend, but one weekend a year for however many years at that point. It was. I think it was we're past 20 at that point. Do you go out of your way to reconcile their marriage on that phone call?
Yes,
Ooh,
because
okay.
so if you're the like, and I've seen it. I spent 20 plus years in the military. I've seen it all when it comes to marriages. Like I've seen the greatest, I've seen the worst. When you're the person who breaks up somebody's marriages, 95% of the time it doesn't work out in your favor in the end. Like if
Okay.
you become the person who like if he would have said something bad on the phone like and she went home and the husband's like this is over, she's gonna get with him and she's gonna resent him for the rest of her life for ruining her marriage. Because what they
Mm,
were doing was, I mean, quote unquote, frivolous. At least
yeah.
from my eyes, right?
Yeah.
Because nothing was serious. They would just tell each other they loved each other like that was just commonplace, which was extremely weird to me. But 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 if he would ruin like when you're the person who ruined that's like breaking somebody's relationship up. Like generally those relationships don't work. They could, but that's the exception to the rule. That but they were older too, so they probably would have
Okay.
worked because they're both probably in like their 50s or something at this point.
Yeah.
She was a great,
Yeah.
like, so yeah, it probably would have worked because they were older and it's like, what are we gonna do? Like, but yeah, like I would have like, hey, y'all need to stay together because he didn't want to leave his wife. Like,
Right,
neither one of them wanted to leave their spouse. They just wanted to have fun for a weekend.
right, right. Fair enough. Ace, appreciates you.
Thank you, thank you. You know what, Ace? You know I appreciate you.
And yeah, if anybody else out there is a baseball fan, though, especially if you're a Yankee fan, Ace is the place to go. Live streams most of the games, if not all of the games.
I would say he's the hardest working man on YouTube. He
Yeah.
probably he I would say 98% of the Yankee game he streams.
Oh yeah. Brian Huckabee is here. Thank you, Brian, for being here. He says, "Hey, movie peeps, what's going on, Brian?"
What's going on, Brian? How you doing?
All right, and all right. So we do have. Oh, he just also added howdy to a whole lot of people. What's going on? Thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right, so back into the movie. I'm gonna put up the I'm gonna put up the spoiler banner for a second. So we're getting into the end of it. Um, we get to a point where Alan Alda's character, after all this time, decides to propose.
Yes.
Where was your head when this happened?
So spoil. So you dropped the spoilers. So he before he proposes, he tells her that his wife just died. You can't propose to somebody after you just said those words. Like that's crazy work right there. Like that's insanity. Like,
Yes.
man, he just my wife died 6 months ago. I got a crazy idea. Let's get married. Like what? No, that is not the way this works. So I mean that my initial thought was, and once again, it makes sense for him, right? He doesn't want to be alone. That's generally, especially back then. Once you are married, and I don't know how long you've been married. If you're married,
Yeah, I've been married for 27 years, so I've been married a long time.
27 years. Boy, that's a mighty long time. But you become your lifestyle changes. You do everything around your spouse. Not saying you're codependent, but you become codependent on your spouse because she picks up, she's your better half for a reason, right? So you become codependent on that person and he now has nobody. And he says the crazy thing like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to go with Colleen now. And I'm like, why would you say that after after she said
Yeah,
no?
yeah,
Like, okay, like she's not gonna allow this to happen anymore, which was the most pathetic thing I've ever heard somebody say on screen. I was like, why would you say all these things and think this is gonna have an effect on her? It did, but like she wasn't gonna leave her husband. Like after you've been cheating for that long, you're typically not gonna leave your spouse like
hmm
until they die, like he's trying to do. But yeah, I just thought that was just a wild sequence of events.
yeah. It was
Uh,
crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. And from her point of view, I mean, I'm thinking this might be a good time to break it off because he's very clearly, he's already starting to be manipulative, and this thing has probably run its course. But
I mean, they probably what has it been from 50 to 70? So it's 25 years. Both of y'all are older. It ain't hitting the same. It ain't
can't be
like
right.
y'all not 20 something years old anymore. Like grow up. Like it's what are you doing? Like and it ends on this quote unquote happy note. And I was like, oh man,
Yeah,
I just once again I watched this when I was younger,
mm,
single, and I had no idea about life. And now watching it as a 40 something year old man who's been married for 11 years now, that's just crazy. Like that whole situation is crazy.
yeah. It was, and for a second, because they played it like she would. For a second, it was like she's gonna leave her husband, and we're gonna have this crazy, supposedly happy ending. And my head was starting to hurt. Uh,
Yeah.
but she didn't. Thank goodness. But even so, yeah, it was like, what is wrong with the both of you? What are you two
Yeah.
doing?
Like, it ended on such an odd note. It was such an odd ending to the movie because if I was rooting for him to just leave, and it's just like, "All right, cool, now go on with your life." Like, now you both can move on.
Hmm.
Because in relationships like that, like, they definitely were in each other's life for a reason, right? Like, but man, it ran its course, man. Like, both of y'all in y'all 50s, late 50s, early 60s. Y'all are grandparents now. Knock it off. Like,
Yeah, knock it
what,
off.
what are y'all doing?
Yeah, knock it off is the appropriate response here. That's for sure. All right, let me see if we got a couple more comments. If there anything pertaining to what's going on here, and then I will give my final verdict. I'm actually going to let you give yours. Usually we don't do this for the person who proposed the movie, but since it had been such a long time, I'm going to let you also do that. My man Huck is here. What's going on, Huck? Says now I'm signed in here as Huck. Had to sign in twice to give more done. Well, oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Huck. So is that you, Huckabee? Huckabah? Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. I thought that was you, but then I was like, that's not his username. And yeah, as Corey said, threw us all off a little bit, Corey. Got to keep people on the toes. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Adrian is here. What's going on, Adrian? Adrian James. So now I'm doubly official now because Adrian and Holland are here. Uh, those guys show up to more streams than I can imagine. So I'm
That's what's up.
always glad to see them. And we got some ladies. Says, hey there, Hug. Now I know your real name. All right. So yeah, I'm going to turn the floor over to you for a minute and just kind of give your overall final view of same time next year.
So my overall view, I view it a little bit differently than I did 25 years ago. I still think it. I mean, I still think it was a fun time. I guess you could say watching people stumble over their words and just make terrible life decisions. It's still like Ellen Bernstein and Alan Alda still drew me in. Like, they still were great actors, great performances by both of them. So, I mean, I'll recommend watching it if you want a good laugh, I guess you could say, and just once again watch people just make terrible life decisions and what not to do, and make sure your spouse doesn't leave on the same weekend every year.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so for me, I think I'm generally in the same spot, though I would be careful about who I'm recommending it to.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah, for one, let's forgetting the premise for a second. Just the idea that it's a rom com, you have to know that person's sense of humor because I don't think it's going to be ha ha funny for everyone. Um,
very true.
yeah, it's going to take a certain level of experience, maturity, and just that being your kind of style that person likes. So I would be careful about recommending people for that reason. Overall, I thought it was pretty well made, and we didn't get into this, but the only thing I kind of found sometimes I found interesting, sometimes annoying was like you said they met every 5 years. Well, between that, what we got was a bunch of still photos uh, showing moments in history at around that time, and I think they played the same song every time. That's funny.
Yes, I was just about to the song that that's such a 70s and 80s thing, having the theme for the movie, and like it plays every single time. It reminds me, have you ever seen the movie The Woman in Red?
Yes, been a long
With
time. Yes.
but like they played the same. but that was like an '80s trope where they would just play the every time you saw a certain character, they would play the same song, and it was kind of their theme. And
Hmm.
I really wanted to know who sung that song because it was very unique singing. That's what I was saying.
Um, uh, Beverly Hills Cop did that. And I know a lot of people are familiar with that. The original Beverly Hills Cop, every 10 seconds, it seemed like. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
yes, yes, that was a
Otherwise,
very '80s thing.
yeah, and in this case, like I said, that got tiresome. Um, I didn't. I definitely didn't like Alan Alda's character. Ellen Burstyn's character, I liked, but I was kind of confused by. And I thank you for helping. You helped me clear some things up, and that's cool. So overall, I would say, yeah, I would say I like the movie, but it's not something I'm going to be like, I got to go back to this because at the end of the day, you know, what they're doing is just A, ridiculous, and B, is like, y'all, like you said, y'all are terrible people. All right. I don't, and you're not terrible to the point where you're like, you're not compelling. You're not always compelling to watch as in your terribleness. In some movies, especially like if you like Tarantino movies or something like that, there's terrible people in them, but they're compelling to watch. And here, I felt Bernstein was more compelling to watch, but all in all, yeah, I can live without. Um, you know,
You know, a movie I thought of when I watched this was the Before series, the
mhm.
Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and I can't remember what the third one was.
I think it's
What
after sunset or
Yeah,
after.
after Sunset with Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke. I don't know why that movie, those movies just popped in my head because they're so much better movies because they're two single people who just so happen to meet each other at different stages in their life. But I like those type of movies, like those kind of single setting, walking through the street type of romantic comedies, I guess, like dramedies, like though
Mhm.
I don't know, like I just thought of that movie
Okay.
when I watched this movie. Different premise, but kind of the same. You know, two people kind of drawn to each other for a variety of reasons.
So, confession: I've never seen the Before series, and here I'm gonna do it because everybody tells me how great they are. But I don't like Richard Linklater, the director.
Whoa, you didn't enjoy Boyhood? Boyhood was I
Boyhood
love Boyhood.
was like watching paint dry for 12 years in a row. I could not stand that movie. I could not. I didn't like Boyhood. I didn't like Dazed and Confused. I didn't like there was the movie he did, the animated movie on Netflix he had a couple years ago with the astronaut kids. I didn't like that, and everybody loved it. Um, Anything else I've seen of his, I just don't like. Oh, the baseball movie. What was the baseball movie? Everybody wants some or gets some or something like that.
I don't remember that one.
That was
Everyone
another
gets.
one. Everybody critics loved it, and I watched it, and I was like, oh no.
I don't think I saw that one. I know what you're talking about now, but I don't think I watched. I didn't finish that. Okay,
Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
a college baseball team.
yeah, he's not everybody's cup of tea. I enjoyed the first two. The third one kind of was like, all right, this is real life now, and it got depressing. But but the first two are pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I'm gonna do it at some point. I'm gonna bite the bullet and watch them. Because, like I said, everybody's telling me how great they are, and but I just know that that director does not work for me.
Then
So
you probably won't like it. If you don't like him as a director, then you probably won't like those movies.
right. But there are directors who I don't generally like, but they have a movie or two that I do. So we'll see. Because I'm not a David Lynch person either, but I like The Elephant Man. So that was good.
I'm not a David Lynch person either. I've never seen The Elephant Man. I probably will never see The Elephant Man.
It's more straightforward than anything else he's done. That's for sure. Because I know his movies tend to do weird, a lot of
Yes.
weird things happen. Tend to
Yeah.
happen.
Yes. Not my style.
No, mine.
But your movie did some weird they did some weird
Speaking
things
of weird things, yes, great segue. Great segue. Maybe you should be hosting. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the. Let's go ahead and get to the other movie, and that movie is a more recent one. So a lot of I'm curious to see if more people have seen this one. This is from 2013, and this is Prisoners. And in this one, Hugh Jackman is a dad. Terrence Howard is a dad. Viola Davis is Terrence Howard's wife. Maria Bello is Hugh Jackman's wife. And you know, their Thanksgiving gathering with the two families, and the girls go out and play. And then the next day, we find out that the girls are missing. Two little girls. I think they're about 7 years old, um,
Hmm.
6 or 7 years old, and they're missing. And of course, the police get called in, and the lead detective here is played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's trying to investigate the case. Of course, results are not coming fast enough for Mr. Jackman, so Wolverine goes out and tries to find out who's responsible on his own. All right. Um, so I don't know. Where do we pick off? So that's where we pick up. So right there, we're in there. And right from the beginning, it almost seems like they give the game away. What do you think right at the beginning?
So I did when I watch movies like this, I'm looking for all the clues.
Hmm.
I didn't catch any of the clues watching it, like because I was so fascinated with the fact that Paul Dano was in this movie,
Yes.
and I think David, what is his name, David Demashilin, or
I
I
don't know
don't.
the guy's name, but I know who you're talking about. Yes.
They picked the creepiest guy. I thought that was a very interesting choice to pick the creepiest looking guys to play the suspects. But just Paul Dano in itself, I knew there was something up with him, but in my mind, I was like, nah, there's no way that the person who does it is the person who did it. I was like, nah, because like you said, they did kind of give it away towards the beginning, but I was like, nah, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. Then by the time you find out who the person was, it was like I kind of forgot about early in the movie. So it just
Hmm.
I was like, oh man, okay. That took me by surprise.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it was well paced to the fact that maybe because I'm just old and I forget things really easily. I just that person went out of my mind until that final act where I was like, oh wow,
Right.
that makes sense.
Right. And they kind of portray that person. Well, earlier in the movie, as a not as a not very important piece.
Yes, yes,
So it's easy to forget.
yes, exactly, exactly. It wasn't until it just kept showing up, and I was like, why do they keep going? Okay, all right, now it's making sense.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what? Hugh Jackman is he's taking lead on this. Like I said, he's going full blown X-23 Wolverine.
Yes.
He just doesn't have claws. But he's just out here starts doing stuff. What did you think of Terrence Howard though? What did you think of
So
him? How he was going about?
I'll be totally honest. I felt like I would be Terrence Howard in this situation. Like I felt more like because I do understand, right? As a father, you lose your child. All you want to do is lash out and you want to inflict as much pain on somebody else as you're feeling. But at the end of the day, that doesn't get you anywhere.
Hmm.
Like you're gonna inflict the pain, but you still don't have your child. So he kind of rolled with him, but he was skeptical. That once again, that would be me. I'm like, I'll probably be in there doing some damage too, but I questioned you about it before I got my licks in. I'm like, man, why are we doing this? All right, let me get in and But what really kind of upset me about the movie, or about the characters in the movie, and they do this a lot in movies, where the woman drives the wife. that initial going towards your manhood thing. It was like you said you were going to protect this family. Like, come on, lady. Like,
Yeah,
why would you like? I do understand the hurt there because this reminds me of John Q, where the wife is like, "You gotta do something," and then
yeah,
you end up going to do the ultimate worst thing, and then they look at you like you're the bad guy at the end. It's like, man, that annoys me. That's a trope that really annoys me in movies because they always do that where the woman, it's always the wife or the girlfriend that questions the guy's manhood and then drives them to do something extreme when I don't think that's necessary. But Viola Davis was with it. She was just like, I want to go. I want to go see it. Like the other wife would have probably broke down. She would. She probably would have actually turned him in. Maria Bello would have probably turned him in. Like she was,
yeah,
and she started taking pills and drugging herself out. It was like you gonna question me, but then you just gonna like pretty much mummify yourself in your room and just cry all day. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
Both of them took to self medicating. You know, her with the pills, and he started drinking a lot.
That was see. So I interpret that is a lot of a lot of things in this movie happened happenstance, like by happenstance. The only reason he started drinking was because Jake Gyllenhaal started like that. Literally, he would have never walked into that liquor store if Jake Gyllenhaal didn't follow him. So I don't think he was drinking before that. I think he started drinking because like once he had the bottle in his hand, he said I hadn't had to drink in 9 years, but once that bottle's in your hand, especially in the state he's in, I thought that was a very cool part of the story because it kind of made sense how it all played out.
Okay. What did you think about Gyllenhaal?
Oh, he was phenomenal in this movie. Like Jake Gyllenhaal has always like I've always thought he wasn't a good actor, and then I watch him in something I was like, oh, he's great. He was so good as this cop because he wasn't playing the straight, like he wasn't playing the straight guy. You could tell he had issues, like, and he played them so well. I thought he was the best part of the movie, honestly.
Okay, okay. Did you like his character?
No, he was a dick. Like the way he spoke to them, I probably would have hit him. Like once you say I understand what you're once you say that to me like 10 times,
Mhm.
as after like the day after my daughter got taken, bro, I'm beating your ass in my house. Like we gonna like like it's like saying calm down. And I think at some point he did tell him to calm down. I was like,
I think
what?
so.
like
And he spoke
man,
like that to everybody though, because he did that with his superiors
yeah.
in the police force.
And the superior let him know. Like I thought of that. I was like, bro, I would have looked at him like, who are you talking to? like
Exactly.
he told the guy to go fuck himself. I'm sorry if I'm cursing on your show, but he told him all types of stuff, and I was like, you if a man allows you to talk to him like that, then I guess it's okay. But you not about to talk to me like that, bro. We would have been scrapping in there.
Yeah. Yeah, coming from a military background, you know, you don't certain ways you don't address a person who outranks you.
Even still, because I've worked with people who've outranked me or I've outranked, but we've had such a bond. Like we would talk to each other
Yeah, absolutely.
like that, but not in a professional setting. Not like we're talking about cop work. We're not in the bar drink, having a few beers. Like we're in a professional setting. You like we're supposed to be professionals. And he was great at doing he was great at getting results, but he was a terrible police officer. like he was
Yeah.
great at getting results, but he was a terrible police officer.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of movie cops are actually bad officers.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
just fun to watch. Hugs as prisoners is awesome.
I would tell you I was really blown away by this movie, how well it was done. And then when I saw Villeneuve directed, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
that makes total sense.
makes sense. Uh,
Like
Mika agrees. Says yes, it's a great movie. Uh, And then she said, yes, that desperation will make you do drastic things. It's understandable to react that way.
No, I completely get it.
Mhm. So they're running on emotion. They were definitely running on emotion. Um,
What I would say one of my biggest issues was the amount of time that was passing. It seemed like it was a bigger amount of time, but it was only like days, and nothing works that fast. Like I don't care what the situation. Like nothing works as fast as like everything was happening. Okay, I don't want to jump into spoilers towards the end, but there's a scene at the end where it was like, how do you get here after that just happened?
yeah,
Like how I was man, everything was happening so fast, but like incredible things were happening on screen. They were like, oh, that was 2 days ago. Bro, the cops are not the cops are not even going to entertain a missing child until like 24 to 48 hours. And
right,
maybe that's in our neighborhood, maybe not in their neighborhood. I don't know. I don't know, but like generally it don't just like they don't go missing and 30 minutes later you got the cops searching the wood line, you know.
right. Yeah, they had everybody out there. Mika saw Prisoners for the first time last year, late to the game, but it blew me away. I understand.
Yeah, that was the first time I've watched it.
It stays with you.
It does. I have a friend. I have a friend. I was driving from my last duty station, driving here to Texas where I'm at, and I always stop and see all my friends, and I stopped at a friend's house, and like her daughter's there. She has a kid with my best friend. We all served together. We all in Iraq together. And her daughter's like, "Hey, we're going down the street. We're going." And I think her daughter was like 12 at the time. It's like 3 or 4 kids, and they're just running down the street. I used to run the streets of New York. I used to run. I'd be outside playing basketball to 2, 3 in the morning, and the block took care of me. Right, the block made sure I got home okay. Like, cause me and my boys, that's what we did. We slept all day during the summer, and we just played ball all night. Like we played boys harbor, we played we played midnight basketball. So that's just what we did. There's no way in hell I'm letting my kids
No,
like we
not
did like, and they were just going 2 houses down or something like that. But I still would feel some type of way about that. Like I'm not just gonna be like, hey, oh, you 2 7-year-olds, just walk down the street. Like,
well, they had older brother and sister with them.
but the parents were drinking, and they didn't tell the older brother and sister to actually go with them because they
Oh, it's right. That's right. This happened the
the
second time.
second time, yeah, it was the second time. The first time they told them to go with them. The second time they were just like go, and didn't actually like say anything to the older brother and sister. Um, and like everybody there probably blamed themselves. Like they had to. The older brother and sister, the parents, like everybody's blaming themselves because they were having a good time. I understand it, but like I'm very my mind. I've just seen too much.
Yeah, yeah. Steve said I haven't seen it. My watch list is out of control. Yeah, so is everybody's. Um,
Yeah.
now we with the older brother of the Hugh Jackman's daughter, we did get a scene where he was kind of blaming himself, and then the three of them, him and Hugh Jackman and Maria Bella, all just kind of screaming at each other over this, and everybody's kind of blaming themselves
Hmm.
and each other, and I thought that was a pretty rough scene.
The scene that sticks out to me was the Terrence Howard and Viola Davis when they went looking for their daughter, and
Hmm.
they knocked on her door, and then she didn't answer, and they knocked on her door again. They were about to barge in, and she comes out and yells, and she was like, "Hey, I've been in my room, but y'all wouldn't know because y'all just left me alone." Like, so thinking about that as a young woman, she's probably terrified because she doesn't know if she's gonna get snatched. Like, you never know. Um, because like we just think on different parameters from being a man to being a young. I don't know how a young girl feels, but I know conversations I've had with my wife about not feeling safe in certain places that I feel completely comfortable in.
Hmm.
But I thought that that was powerful because she was right. Everybody was kind of going off and doing their own thing, and it was like they weren't paying attention to the two children that was still there. Like the son was being neglected because he yelled at all you're doing is drinking. Like you're not paying attention. You don't care like if anything happens to me or what I'm doing. And the daughter felt the same way because the parents were acting off emotions, like someone said earlier.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Especially, well, I shouldn't say I was going to say especially Hugh Jackman's character, but and that's not completely true because yeah, like you said, everybody's kind of just going off emotions and they're all running on fumes because nobody seems to be getting any kind of rest here. It's 24 hours. Let's try to find out, figure out what's happening, what's going on, and but bringing it back to Jackman's character, he makes some pretty drastic decisions. And now we talked about Terrence Howard, and I think I'm like you. I'll probably be much more in that Terrence Howard lane. Um, but could you get behind what when you were watching it? What did you think about what Jackman was doing?
So I mean, I understood it, and when I saw Terrence Howard's reaction, I thought to if they got caught, who becomes the bad guy,
Mhm.
right? So if Terrence Howard and Hugh Jackman both get caught at the same time, what are the optics in that, right? Like I went there because if those two got caught, Terrence Howard becomes the bad guy, right? He becomes the mastermind, right? Like the media is gonna paint because you got this guy who owns a, whatever. And I don't know, I don't remember if they said what Terrence Howard did. Was he a teacher? Like
I can't remember.
I think because I know he's playing the trumpet and but I thought I heard him say something about teaching. But either way, like especially like I've been in places where I was like the only black guy there, and I was like, if something goes down, I'm gonna be the guy. Like I'm gonna be the one who gets caught, and they gonna fry my ass. Like that's my mindset. So I could kind of see where he was going, but I completely understood Hugh Jackman. He went extreme
Mhm.
because I think that he already had a few screws loose. He just got pushed over the edge because I think his dad had committed suicide. So I mean he already he's damaged. Like he probably never. I mean, how could you? How could you move past the fact that your father committed suicide and then you lose your daughter? Um, so I definitely don't blame him. Like I would never fault him. He went to the extreme because he didn't feel like Jake Gyllenhaal was giving. It was the way he talked to him too. Jake Gyllenhaal would speak to him as if he was so nonchalant, like he wasn't gonna do something. But you want somebody to be like, hey, I'm going to, I'm gonna find this person. I'm gonna find this person, and like kind of get as riled up as you are. But Jake Gyllenhaal just wasn't. He was just like, calm down, sir. I'll do what I can. No parent wants to hear that. Like
Right.
no parent wants to hear that.
But you know what though? I thought that Jay Gyllenhaal's character, I thought he was as riled up, but he had to present a professional front. So
Yeah.
he couldn't be, in there being rah rah with the parents, right? But every time they were out of sight or he was away from them, he's pushing the envelope and he's it really seems to be taking it hard.
Oh, for sure. Like he did great detective work. He just was a bad police officer. He did great detective work, but like it's certain things that you want to hear as a parent, and he just never said any of those things. Like there was certain things he was saying. I was like, I would get so upset. Like me and him would have probably came to blows in the house but just how he was talking to him. And you're right. He has to. He can't get in there. He can't promise you you're gonna find the kids like that. No cop can do that because there's a chance you might never find those kids. The clock
Right.
really is ticking. Um, but yeah, they were just. I completely understood Hugh Jackman going because he just didn't believe that his intensity was as much as they weren't matching intensities in order to find his daughter because he didn't feel like he had any stakes in it.
No, yeah, yeah, and that's kind of what it boils down to for all of for what Jackman was doing. It's like you said, they, nobody has the same stakes that I have. I've got my daughter in this, and and I think he's looking at Terrence Howard like, yeah, you do have the same stakes, but I need your help, but you don't really have what it takes to do what's necessary for from Jackman's perspective.
Yeah,
And
he wanted Terrence Howard to come in there and just like start pounding him just like he was. He wanted that
right,
same fire, and they were just two different people, and which I admired that they did that in the movie. I don't think the movie is as good if you just have all four people just completely manic and everybody's acting the same. I thought that was well done. How everyone had this different reaction to this extremely tragic event, to include Jake Gyllenhaal. Right, you could tell it was eating him up, even though he didn't have kids. Like he's just single. He's so focused on solving the case because that's just what he does. And that's what makes him a good detective.
right, right. Um, and just to tell people, this is not really a spoiler because it happens even in the trailer. If you ever watch the trailer for the movie, but just so people understand what we're getting at as far as Jackman's character, he just Paul Dano was kind of presented as the first suspect, as the suspect right off the bat, and Jackman gets his hands on him and takes him prisoner pretty much. He locks him up in a he's got this little house and just kind of gets into some torture tactics, trying to get information out of him. And I wouldn't necessarily say that he enjoys it, but I would say that he's more than willing to do it if it's going to get the result that he desires.
Yes. So and that's where the time factor came into play because he got released from jail and he like took him the same night. It was like I was like, how did that even happen? Like
Right.
how and I got it. The captain said he didn't put any like he didn't want to waste any money. Like you could waste a day. You could send somebody to the house when you release them. Like you could waste a day of somebody's time in order to just watch over them. But it was like that's I think my only fault with the movie was the sense of time. Just it didn't match up. Like it wasn't logical. How everything just happens. Everything was so like all of this happened within a week. I would say I want to say
Yeah.
it's like 7 to 8 days.
Oh yeah.
All of these things
It
happened.
might have been even less than that because uh, remember they're counting down whether or not the girls are even going to be alive because they've starved to death, and we're counting down like it was like 5 days really is where you're looking at that. So it might have been even less than a week.
No, the scene where Jake Gyllenhaal follows him. He says it was 6 days on that day. Because
Oh, you said
he said it was a week. He said no, it hasn't been a week. Oh, it's 6 days. 6 days. I remember that scene where
okay,
they're in the car. So it's a little over 6. So it might be 7, maybe 8 days. But then
okay,
all of these things happen, and it just it, a lot of stuff happened within a week, and no, everybody was just. And I mean, it could happen that way, but that was my only nitpick on the movie was just the sense of time was just weird to me because it seemed like it could have been days in between certain scenes, but it was only like a few hours.
hmm and yeah, and I think that's where the movie requires some buy-in. Yeah, 'cause they want that suspension of disbelief for that. Hey, we got this story to tell, but you're gonna have to give us that much. And so, yeah, I understand. Uh, James is here from 20th and 21st. He says, "What's up, Dell and Terrence and everybody? Prisoners is so good. well, one of Villeneuve's huh, Villeneuve's best. Sorry, I can't say it. Hackman, Gyllenhaal, and Howard were solid. Um, also, I thought the ladies were very good. Also, Maria Bello,
Yes.
Viola Davis. Um, uh, it's I think at this stage in her career, it's a great role for Viola Davis, but I don't think she would be allowed to play it now because she just wouldn't. It wouldn't be giving her enough to do.
Yeah, no, I didn't even get to see Viola ugly cry in this movie, so I was a little upset with that. I wanted to see a good Viola Davis ugly cry. I wanted to see some snot bubbles come out. They gave Maria Bello a lot more. She didn't have much because I like feel like she just like drugged herself at half the movie.
Yeah.
But she did have a few extra lines like towards the end. I thought that scene at the end was pretty powerful because you could just tell she was just completely broken. Like the title of the movie is Prisoners, and man, none of these people's lives will ever be the same again after this. And I loved how the movie drove that point home with some of those performances.
So, odd question then. Maybe not an odd question, but an interesting question. Who are the prisoners?
Everyone, like I mean, because you I don't want to give too much away. I mean, but the girls who were taken, their lives they'll never ever be the same again. Um because of what we saw in the movie, right? We found out a lot through the course of the movie that let us know whatever they were doing was terrible because it impacted other characters in the movie to the point where they were not functioning human beings. They were still prisoners, right? And then Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal is probably the only one who's not, right? But those families, they're always going to be living in enclosed in this world that just will never be the same again. They'll never be comfortable to ever do any movement. They'll never be free, like they said in Sinners.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah, and that's why I really is a very apt title because yeah, I'm right with you. There's everybody here, with the possible exception of Gyllenhaal, and maybe not even him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, everybody else here is a prisoner of some type, of some sort. Um, so yeah, it was very, very well done there. All right, so getting to the end, and for this one, and we eventually find out who actually took these girls. And you've already said that you kind of didn't piece it together. Um, did you think it worked, that part of the film?
So with these movies, especially now, like post Scream, post Saw, like we've had iconic killer reveals. It's really hard to pull the wool over people's eyes anymore. What is it? Gone Baby? What's
Uh, Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah, Gone Baby Gone. That was that another iconic end to the movie, and
Yeah.
this kind of felt a little bit in the vein of this. Um, but it's really hard to pull wool over people's eyes, so they kind of like I said, just put it right under. It's right underneath your nose, and I don't believe in coincidences. So them going back to that character, it worked. I mean, because she was just a menacing person. Like it was just like she, like once she started speaking, it was like, okay, you probably have a little dark past. I didn't like the maze aspect of it. I thought that was, I thought that was just like a red herring.
Mhm.
Like that was that was too much. I don't think that was needed. The whole maze aspect, because that tied like once people start talking about mazes, I put it all together then. But it was I thought that was unnecessary. I thought they could have went about it a different way. That was just somebody trying to outsmart me. I hate when movies do that when they're trying to make it smarter than it needs to be. Because real life really isn't like that. Nobody's gonna draw a maze. Like he's not gonna draw.
Not like that.
Yeah,
Everything is complete drawing as well.
yeah, like, it, and then the truck, like all of these different coincidences that all happen. I thought that was like a bit of Hollywood, but I mean it's a movie, so I'm
Yeah.
not gonna hold that too much against it. I just thought everybody's performance just kind of made it work.
Okay. Okay. Completely fair. Let's see. We had some hellos here, and uh, Steve said, "I've had 12 years. I think I've given up any right to whine about spoilers." Fair enough.
I
And
mean, like
good.
I would say, if you haven't watched, I would highly suggest watching this movie. It is, man. I'm glad I picked this one.
All right. And Huck says, "Attaboy, wait a man up." All right. So, um, for this movie, like for the other movie, didn't I didn't really care too much about going into spoilers because it's not the type of movie where spoiling is going to change anything.
Yeah,
And to be honest, even with this one, well, it would change that initial watch because then
yeah,
you're waiting for something to happen. So I don't want to quite give it all away.
yeah.
Um, but I will say that yeah, it is tough to figure out. It is definitely tough to figure out. Steve says he plans to watch it someday. All right, I hope you do. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you and just go ahead and let's get your thoughts on prisoners overall, and I'll let you take it over.
Prisoners, I would highly recommend anybody who hasn't seen it to watch it. Denis Villeneuve, he has proven himself to be a very apt director. He is a great director. Everything he does, I would say, is at least beautifully shot. Like it's cinematically very sound. Sound design's great. Um, all of the actors in this movie just have a great performance. Nobody phones it in. Even the child, even the kids. Uh, it's tough to watch though. As a parent, it is extremely tough to watch. It is one of the harder movies as a parent to watch because you end up putting yourself in those shoes and you don't want to think about that at all. But definitely worth the watch though. I would say this is one of. I mean, Paul Dano didn't say much, but he did a lot on the screen. Like I'm a big fan of Paul Dano as an actor. He did a lot with his mannerisms. Maria Bello was great. Terrence Howard was great. Viola's always great. And Hugh Jackman, he was Wolverine, like you said. There was a lot of yelling. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of pain in his performance. And I hope he got therapy after this because I feel like he might have needed it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, every character in the movie needed therapy. For
Oh
sure,
yeah, yeah.
that is just absolutely a must for any of these people. Um, that's just plain fact. Um, yeah, revisiting it for me, and one of the things that I had kind of forgotten was how quiet the movie kind of it feels at times because there's not a lot of music being used in this movie.
Hmm.
Um, so it's a lot of quiet spaces between the dialogue and between the characters exploding. So you
Hmm.
quiet, 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 and then loud. You get the loud burst from someone, and then we go back to quiet for a little bit. And I thought that worked really, really well. But yeah, anybody who hasn't seen Prisoners, definitely, absolutely give it a look. and if you enjoy thrillers at all, you'll enjoy it. Um, as if you're a parent, it can be tough to watch because you automatically put yourself in the shoes of the parents in the movie. So totally get that. All right, we have done it, Mr. Terrance. We made it through.
We did. We did.
We did. It. If you want to tell the good people where to find you and anything you have going on, so they can follow you and check you out, and I'm gonna give you the big screen all to yourself.
Well, first off, I definitely want to thank you for having me on. I appreciate that. I'm a smaller channel. Uh, I am have T from the Have You Seen That with T YouTube channel. I also have a wrestling channel. That's where I do a lot more content. The Island of Relevancy WrestleMania weekend was last week. This previous weekend. So we're ramping up. We're going to talk WrestleMania tomorrow night on the Island of Relevancy podcast. This weekend there is a movie coming out. Until Dawn. I definitely want to check that out. I'm going to do a review on that. And I'm trying to ramp my movie reviews back up, but I'm a father, husband, full time worker, and a part time student. So my time is right after I get off this, I have to finish an assignment. So I wanted to do this. I wanted to be here because I really enjoy um, being part of the movie tube community, and I really enjoy the movie swap, and I really enjoy your content, Dell, on movies. So yeah, that's where you can find me this weekend until dawn. I just dropped my Sinners movie review. It's doing pretty good, and yeah, that's me.
All right, so I appreciate you being here for sure. Yeah, I had a good time doing this, and very happy that we were able to get together on this. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie because that's always an extra bonus.
Mm.
Um, And as for my channel here, I did just put out a video making some movie recommendations to watch these movies, kind of thing. I have movie theater memories lined up, and I got a haul that I did that I just hadn't posted yet. So I'm gonna try to get those out here in the next few days, and then I do have another movie swap in a couple of weeks. Coming up with my guy Johnny from What's Johnny Watching. So I'm going to be the energy level is going to be ramped up to 1,000 for that one because Johnny's that guy, and we're gonna have a good time. Don't know what movies yet, or no, we do know what movies yet, but I'll tell you guys soon. But that's all that I have tonight here. Thank you for everybody in the chat that's been hanging out with us. If you are a content creator or if you're looking for more content creators, just look no further than the chat because there are a lot of them there. Check out T's channel, go subscribe to that. And yeah, if you'd like to be here, I appreciate that much. And Mika says, thank glad to see the show back. Thank you, Mika. So, but yeah, I'm like T. I've got work, I've got spouse, I've got school, myself. So yeah, it's a lot happening. So I get it in when I can.
It is. Exactly.
Exactly. But that's it, everybody. Thank you if you've been here before. Thank you for hanging out with me again. We will catch you on the next one. Bye bye, everybody.